Welcome to the iWoman podcast, where we dive into what it takes to unleash your inner roar in the boardroom, the bedroom, and beyond. My name is Melissa Turner. I am a sassy, C-suite millennial who is all about taking business into the future. And I am here with my good friend and my business partner, Sonia Dunbar.
Hey, I'm Sonia Dunbar. I'm an energetic Gen Xer, serial entrepreneur that's determined to be a game changer. And me partnered with my good friend, Melissa Turner, we're taking charge of an evolution of business women around the globe. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the iWoman podcast. We are so glad you're here. Now, just so you know, what we are going to do every single episode is to keep it fun, keep it random. We're going to pull a topic out of a bowl, and that's what we're going to talk about each episode. So, Sonia, are you ready?
I've been shaking already. Melissa, you ready to pull?
Shake it up, shake it up. I'm ready to pull.
Let's get it, shake it. Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, here it goes. Okay, you ready, everybody? And the topic for this episode is entrepreneurship. There we go, Sonia. That's your wheelhouse.
That is my favorite topic. Yes. Thank you for being here today. Again, I'm Sonia Dunbar, that energetic entrepreneur. So let's just start out. What does Webster Dictionary say an entrepreneur is? A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. Now, if that's not the truth, I don't know what it is.
Hashtag truth.
You know, entrepreneurship is a journey. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But it's a journey. And the biggest thing to me, what it takes to be an entrepreneur is to be brave. That first day, that first step that you take, whether you start out as an entrepreneur while you're working a full-time job, which I did. I had a full-time job because I couldn't let go of my career, and I put my toe in a little bit of entrepreneurship. And then once my business started making more money or making equal money to what I was making in the office, then I stepped out. It wasn't quite there yet, but still I stepped out and I started my entrepreneur journey. My journey was different. I didn't get any business loans. Before I started going into business, I started ordering supplies because I knew what I wanted to do. So I wrote my vision out and I started taking steps. I didn't jump right out there. Like I said, I worked my day job. I had a storage unit. I started buying equipment, instruments. I started checking the market, getting my marketing in place. So there's a lot of steps involved in entrepreneurship, but it's a journey that I wouldn't take back. Now I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had many businesses over my lifetime, and it was so worth it. Melissa, what's your journey on entrepreneurship?
You know what, Sonia? And that's the thing. When does an entrepreneur, when does a career, when does a new business start? Like, what is it here one day and not here the day before? It's a journey. It's definitely a journey. And my experience with being an entrepreneur probably goes back to when I was a child. My family is full of inventors and small business entrepreneurs who will give anything to grow their business. You know, I come from a small town, and my dad, he can do anything. He's one of these guys where we'd be sitting in the house when I was a kid, and he'd be like, you know what, we should move that wall. Let's go move that wall. We'll knock out that wall tonight and we'll move it over there just a couple feet, right? And so, and he was a business owner. He had 2 or 3 businesses throughout the lifetime. And so my journey really started as a kid. And, you know, that's something that's, you know, not everyone has that experience to watch businesses grow as their kids and to be able to kind of soak it in without the stress of actually owning the business, right?
That's right.
As long as there's food on the table, I was fine. But you and I, that's right. You and I come from a background of clinical healthcare. And so we've spent many years as employees in these healthcare businesses. And then, you know, I I think one of the similarities we share is that well, at least I got kind of antsy when I was an employee, right? And so that was my journey, is when I got antsy and I realized, hey, I can do this better. I can go and start my own business and be creative day in and day out. I think that was the drive for me to be like, hey, okay, what's it like to start a business? What can I start? And then shortly after that, I met you. So I don't know. One of the things that's always important to me is understanding the why behind why we started businesses, and knowing that everyone's journey is different, right, Sonia?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Melissa, to what you were saying, it's so important. You seen entrepreneurship and you were able to see the stress and the joy and the journey on your parents' face. So that's important, because I do know that your family they have successful businesses. So you were able to see them start from zero and grow. What an advantage to be able to see something grow. You know, you're a gardener, Melissa. You're always in your garden and tickling you, and you eat what you grow. But the joy of seeing that first sprout come up and that you did it, that's the joy of entrepreneurship. And it even tastes better when you've grown it, right?
I love it, Sonia. It tastes better when you grow it. That's right. That first taste. Definitely.
Yes, and that's how entrepreneurship is. So you were able to see your family plant a seed. You were able to see it grow. And now it's still standing, and they'll pass that growth on to their generation. And that's the good thing about entrepreneurship. When I talk and train and I live by this LPS of entrepreneurship, you have to be able to understand the LPS. Entrepreneurship is lonely. Everybody is not going to understand your journey. Everybody will not cheer for you. Matter of fact, most people won't. Some people are going to walk away. So you have to understand that it's lonely. It's a lonely journey for entrepreneurship most time. Second is you have to be able to push. You don't have a clock to get up and hit every morning. When you're on a job, you know you have to be there at a certain time, or you're going to get in trouble. So that's the push for you. You know, if you don't get up in the morning, you won't, and get out there, you won't get a paycheck. You know, so that's the push. You go to a job, you work, you get a paycheck. Entrepreneurship, if you don't work, when you first start out, you don't eat. So you have to have that push. And the S in the LPS is sacrificing. You're going to have to sacrifice time. Now, if you're not a person that's willing to sacrifice sleep, money, friendships, you know, being an entrepreneurship for many, many years. I had my first business years ago. I think I was like 30 when I first started my first journey in entrepreneurship. I lost a lot of friends because they work 8 to 5, 9 to 6, and they're off on weekends. Entrepreneurship, you don't have those hours. You guys, you're an entrepreneur, you're listening to me, you understand what I'm saying. You may be off on some Saturdays or some Mondays. You're off when the work is done. Now, I do believe in taking that self-care time, but it took me a time to learn that. And in the beginning of entrepreneurship, there's a lot of sacrificing. There's some sacrificing, but it was so worth it. So entrepreneurship, I live by the LPS system. It works for me. It's worked over years, and it's helped me along this journey. Being on the inside and growing, growing this, and my kids seeing it grow. And now they're wanting to be entrepreneurs. That's kind of a negative thing because they don't think they need to work and they think they need the money from me because they're trying to be an entrepreneur. No, know my journey. I said I was working first. So yes, but entrepreneurship is a journey, and I just love to hear other women's journey, other women's story. Don't you, Melissa?
I do, Sonia. I really do. And, your experience as a serial entrepreneur is so valuable because hearing you say words like your LPS acronym, like lonely and push and sacrifice, these are things that we don't often think about when we think about business because our head is down. We're trying to come up with strategy. We're trying to make ends meet. We're trying to grow it. We're trying to meet the need and the demand and the supply. And so when we bring out that vulnerability and that emotion, and I think that's one of the strengths as women, bringing more femininity into the workplace, I think will automatically help bring that emotion, that collaboration, that coaching, that wellness aspect that honestly most businesses are missing. So thank you for sharing about your journey. And tell me this though, Sonia, how much of being an entrepreneur is that vulnerability? Because I read a definition of being an entrepreneur one time, and it struck me because the definition used the word cynicism. It said to be an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to face cynicism every single day. And when I read that, the term vulnerability came to mind. So much of how do how much of your journey has been about vulnerability as an entrepreneur?
You know what, Melissa, I would have to say the majority of my journey has been about vulnerability, because every day you have to get up and face yourself in the mirror. You're your own boss. You're your own worst critic. It's you. You have to be real with yourself. You have to be vulnerable with yourself. You have to know your limits. You have to know, especially as women, we have to know when we have to ask for help. We have to know when we don't know the answers. We have to get out of our head. You have to be vulnerable enough to say, Sonia, you're in your head too much. This is going to work. This is not going to work. You have to pull back and push here, sacrifice this and give that. But that's you looking in the mirror and being vulnerable with yourself. And that's the hard part for a lot of people. That's why a lot of people fail. And one more thing, you have to be in it for the long haul. You know, so many days I wanted to quit. So many days I wanted to quit, but you have to be in it for the long haul. And that's what being vulnerable with yourself. When I coach people in business, I want to know how dedicated they are to this. I'm married to my businesses, just like I'm married to Gerald. And you and I, Melissa, now this is going to resonate with you. We call our businesses our babies. And we'll say, well, the baby is only a newborn and you have to carry it. Then when it's 1 year old, you don't leave your baby with everybody. Maybe with mom, if she was a good mom to you. Maybe with a few aunts that you really like. But until they walk, and you don't have them crawling around on everyone's floor. They don't know what they're going to catch. So then when your baby, like my baby now is older, you know, they're in school, so they can be left alone a little bit. I can travel a little more and do some things. So it becomes like a family member to you. I know, Melissa, you can resonate with that, right?
I totally can. I have my garden babies, my tomato babies. I have my business babies, right? And then I have my real babies, my kid babies. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's so crucial that, as an entrepreneur, that we're willing to fight for the success of whatever business it is, whether it's a small business or a large business, whether it's a local business or a business with global goals. We have to be willing to fight each and every day and wake up and say, I'm going to do this. I'm on the way. And just that positive self-talk, I think is a huge thing for me. Sonia, I do have a question though. As you were talking, I was sitting here thinking, do you think it's possible to create a successful business off of a personal passion? Do you think that it's possible to be so passionate about something that it can turn into a successful business?
Absolutely.
Or do you think that it has to be, just something that the market wants right then?
No. One thing that I do know, whatever you're passionate about, someone else most likely is passionate about. So whatever you can reproduce and put out there and sell, it could become a business. So whatever you're passionate about, that's what you do. Melissa, you know that I've told you I was always passionate about elderly.
That's right.
And I'm going to share this really quick because our time to wrap is almost here. But when my children were young, I've always liked seniors. When my children were young, like 1, 2, and 3, they're stair steps. We're a military family. For Christmas, I never believed in giving. I believe that why should you get a gift on someone else's birthday? And it wasn't their birthday. So on Christmas, I would dress my children up because they were cute, but then I'm the mother, so I'm biased, But I would dress them up and take them into the nursing home and they would sing to the elderly people. They couldn't sing. They were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. This little bird screaming. But the elderly people liked them all year. I would pick up little trinkets from different stores, and I would take the people in the nursing home gifts. I've always had a passion for seniors. That passion grew into a full business that we're branching out in many states now and making good money doing it. So your passion or your pain can become your business and get you paid. So I encourage people, do something you like doing, because you won't have to get up every morning and do it even when you don't feel like it. So you might as well do something that you kind of enjoy doing. Don't let the market dictate you. You do what you enjoy. Start small, get a vision, write it out, know that you have to do the LPSs and make it happen. I encourage entrepreneurship. Melissa, you know what I want to do?
What?
I want people that's listening to this podcast. Can you go to our iWoman Facebook page and share your entrepreneur journey? Melissa loves to read more than me. I listen to audiobook, but Melissa will read all of these entrepreneurial stories. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The people that share it, Melissa, if this is okay with you, we're going to do a raffle. We're going to do a raffle. We want to hear your journey, because there's so many entrepreneur women out here. We don't get recognized. We want to cheer for you. We want to clap for you. That was one of the reasons of this podcast, to be a motivated, encourage women in business. We're proud of you. It takes boldness to step out. It takes vulnerability, sacrifice, right, Melissa?
It takes sacrifice. It takes vulnerability. It takes fighting for your passion to lead to your profit. So there we go. That's another episode of iWoman podcast for you. So like Sonia said, go to our social media, tag us in a post, and tell us about your entrepreneur journey. Share, be vulnerable, let us know, tag us, and you will be entered to win into a raffle. There you go. That's it, Sonia.
Thank you. Click, like, and share. Until next time, bye.
Thank you for listening. We want to take a moment to thank this year's sponsors, and we want to thank you for joining us today and for sharing in this moment.
Yes, and please click, like, and share this podcast with other business women that you may know. Thank you from iWoman Podcast.